hashtag BHO. And I was like, oh, sweet. Are we gonna like start a new thing? So I looked up on Twitter, hashtag BHO, and it's all Barack Hussein Obama.
So what was BHO gonna be for you?
Bro's hanging out. So like we were like, oh, we're gonna start a new thing, and so we started doing all this Twitter stuff during the regionals with BHO, and then like I went to look it up, and there's like a bunch of Barack Obama stuff, and then us like just bullshitting.
I say we take it
Like
back.
I didn't know Barack Obama was at the CrossFit Regionals. That's fucking awesome.
I say we take it back. BHO. Bros hanging
I
out.
don't think you're gonna overtake Barack Obama's hashtag.
I think we can do it, especially after this year. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Easy.
You gotta wait till after an election year to do that.
All right.
Segway.
Scott English, former pro basketball player, killing shit in Bolivia.
I thought we were supposed to be more professional and curse less.
I want to make it clear that I had no time to murder anything in Bolivia.
Immediately I assume
You get a
Scott English drug lord, cocaine
The
dealer.
cops come and arrest him.
So you used to play pro basketball?
I did.
Happy times?
Good times for most of the time. There were some, sketchy moments, but
You get paid well?
pretty well for coming straight out of college.
Would you say you were balling?
Literally balling, figuratively not. I wouldn't
Playing
say balling.
fairly well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're playing fairly well.
I was doing all right for a kid fresh out of college and working half a year, 6 months out of the year,
Yeah.
vacation in the other 6.
What was it, Bolivia?
You only work 6 months of the year,
Yeah.
and then you just.
Spent that money that I made in that 6 months for the other 6 months.
Actually, sounds kind of cool.
For 8 years, it was pretty awesome.
Wow.
And you can play what? Norway, Bolivia.
Norway, Bolivia,
Argentina?
Chile, Argentina, Qatar.
Oh, I forgot about the guitar.
Yeah,
Qatar.
Qatar
How long
was.
were you there?
That was the sketchy show.
I'm sure it was.
I mean, Qatar itself wasn't that bad, but I got there. There was no one from the team to meet me there, and you're not allowed to just stroll into Qatar and hang out. You got to have a visa and work permit or whatever, and so there was no one from the team to meet me there.
In all fairness, I don't think anybody's entertained the idea of just strolling into Qatar.
Yeah, I've never.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, you can't get in. You get to the airport, if you don't have your visa, you're staying at the airport.
Yeah.
Or, police station or something. So I arrived in Qatar, and there's no one from the team to meet me. So I'm just sitting there for 45 minutes, and then finally some guy nonchalantly strolls up and goes, "Oh, here I am, here to pick you up." I'm like, "All right, that's cool." And then the second thing was, they were supposed to have me, put up in an apartment so I could, cook for myself and whatever. They had me in a hotel instead. And
For how long?
for 2 weeks. So, that's all I stayed, but I didn't know how long that was going to be. So all I could eat was go downstairs to the all-you-can-eat buffet that was in the hotel. But since no one in Qatar that's a citizen has to work because they have so much money from oil and stuff, all the food and all the work is done by Pakistanis and Indians. So it's all Pakistani and Indian food.
Oh,
So that's fine once a week or so. But
that's cool.
I can't eat that 3 meals a day. So that was the second thing. And then the third thing, we were all on the team bus headed to like a game or practice or whatever. And I'm talking to our coach, who happened to be a Yugoslav, and they had brought him down from Yugoslavia, and he was just going to be the coach, and I'm just kind of asking him how it's been going. He's like, "Well, I've been here for 6 months and they haven't paid me yet." I'm like, "Okay," and he goes, and like the first week I was here, they took my ticket and passport, said they needed to make a change, and then never gave it back to me.
Oh,
So he goes, I have no way to get home. I have nothing to take to like a consulate or anything to prove my identity, and I have no money. So I just have to keep coaching and hope they eventually decide to give me my stuff back and pay me.
They enslaved him.
And then literally the next day, the club manager came up to me and said, "Hey, since you're going to stay, we need your ticket and your passport so we can change your ticket." And I went, "Nope, I'm going to change that myself. I'm going home because it's not cool."
No, not cool.
Plus, on top of that, they started talking about we're going to go to the Gulf Championships, the Persian Gulf Championships in Beirut. So I'm going out. That's probably not a good place for me right now, so I think I'm just going to go
You'll
home.
love it. It's sunny and warm.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like wartime in Beirut at that time, but still, I just was.
When I hear the word Beirut,
Yeah,
I'm like,
there's too many things wrong with this picture. I want to go home.
So you were balling.
I was balling.
Just to fucking answer his point, by the
Yes,
way.
I was balling.
You were balling. Okay, sorry for cursing.
Balling. Yeah, balling. I'm balling. Got some
Following with the
scoring records in a couple of countries, and
Yeah.
BHO.
Can you go over and stand next to Chris? I just want to get perspective of what Unfit for CrossFit looks like.
varying degrees of unfitness.
So super tall,
much taller
and
than
skinny,
you look
and kind of medium, and a little bit wide.
Kind of medium.
Skinny.
I'm getting a little thinner, but my wife told me I look skinny tonight. She just blowing smoke on my ass.
Trying to get laid, man.
Like I said,
That's
before
love.
the
That's
CrossFit
love right there.
before the CrossFit experiment. When did we start, dude? It's been about a month, right?
Yeah, 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, so I was about 305 to 307, right in that range when we started. What I've been at for like a year or 2 years, right in that comfortable zone, and about 297 tonight. So I mean, it's chipping down like you would expect it. It's fucking mathematics, bro. It's mathematics, bro.
Welcome. This is Barbell Shrugged. I'm Mike Bledsoe here with CTP and Chris Moore with our guest Scott English. We're going to be talking about Unfit for CrossFit.
Like people know what that
Our
is.
startup foundation.
No,
No,
it's not. Trademark? No, just kidding.
yeah,
It sounds like a
trademark
charity
it.
donation or a charity organization.
So if you want to find out more about what that is, stay tuned.
Just unfit.
they're unfit.
It is a charity for unfit folks. We give you a place to not look foolish.
It's mental charity for myself.
I'll sponsor you.
A charity for Scott to feel better.
That's right.
All right, watch this footage. All right, let's pretend now the intro's cruising. Edit this out, me. All right.
An exit intro.
Somebody get me more coffee.
Damn.
I'm thirsty.
It's not in the budget.
All right.
That footage was tight.
What's our first topic, dude?
The audio people are going to hate this.
You're going to have to edit it out.
Never do.
You need to.
I know.
Some of the audio that we have is terrible. Like the first 2 minutes is bad.
Right.
What it happens.
No, but it's fun, though.
You ease into the podcast like a warm bath. You get your feet in there, and you go, ooh, it's a little warm, and you get settled in, then you get into your groove, and you start saying stuff that's meaningful.
All right, here we go.
We're talking about you guys have started doing something Scott coined. Well, first you coined doing things Scott scaled,
Yeah.
and then you came up with the idea for Unfit.
Right. You want me to expand on that a little bit?
What is Scott scaled and why Unfit?
Well, tell them how tall you are first and why you might need to be scaling such things.
Yeah.
That's right.
When I started CrossFit 2 years ago, like I couldn't do a lot of the normal metcons. I would either have to scale stuff. Part of that was just lack of strength, lack of flexibility, but a lot of the stuff just is not made for tall people. And when you're trying to do body weight exercises and you weigh 240 pounds, it's not as easy as somebody else who starts at 135 or 150.
How tall are you?
6'10", just under 6'10".
Dang.
You have to duck under some walkways.
Yeah, doorways are usually only 6'8", so I'm pretty much ducking through any doorway.
Life of oppression, man. I tell you.
Yeah, it's rough. It's pretty great. But anyways, so I found that I was either scaling workouts or just stepping out. Like if the workout had overhead squats, I basically just didn't do that workout, or I'd have to sub goblet squats or something else, and that kind of got boring, or not boring, but disappointing when here's all these people that I'm not saying people are unfit, but people that I considered less fit than me, and I can't do what they're doing just because of the movement, or the bar's too short for me to get my hands on a snatch grip, on a standard
Right.
barbell. So just stuff like that. So I was working with Doug Larson a bunch and just doing single leg stuff to get my leg work in, and had him do specialized programming for about a year, I guess, and then I got tired of doing that, and I wanted to get back into the daily CrossFit Metcons, and I just decided I'm going to do it, and if there's stuff I can't do, I'm going to work on it, and and that kind of led to the Scott scale joke, which since I'm so tall and range of motion stuff, I tend to have probably 1.5 times everybody else range of motion. It really became evident when I signed up for the for the games open, the
Yeah.
CrossFit games open, and the one workout that was burpees, and you had to touch 4 inches out of your reach or whatever it
6.
was, 6 inches, and that turns out to be 9'4" or something for me. And
Did we use the Rogue yoke?
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
footage of that.
Put it all the way at the top.
yeah, we couldn't even get all 4 pins in. We could only put the bottom 2 in because it was even off the top.
Oh wow.
And then there's people that are touching 6 foot or whatever. So big range of motion. So I thought it'd be funny if you Scott scaled something and everybody has to multiply their reps times 1.5 and wear a weighted vest to get up to 240. Just to experience what I go through on a daily basis trying to do a standard Metcon.
That would be tough. It'd be hard just to find a weight vest to get to get me up to that weight.
Right.
So what do you weigh? Like 175 pounds?
About 175, yeah.
So if I'm right with my mathematics, if you add 30 to that, that's 70-pound weight vest. Is that right?
Roughly 65.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm
They
not
make those.
I'm sure they do. I've had a few weight
But
vests.
then you become so incredibly top heavy. It's just like, oh.
Right.
Yeah, you could just knock me over and then my feet would be in the air and you could just kick my feet around. Like one of those
little child.
little kids punching bag things.
Yeah, weeble wobble.
I've had some weight vests in the past and they just fall apart.
Right.
And so I haven't bought it anymore. And
The little pockets tear if you do anything
Yeah.
like a kipping pull up or a box jump.
having a weight vest with that much weight, I'm just not sure would hold up very long at all. They now make some weight vests that are like solid pieces, or like they're more like shirts in the slide weight. I don't know if they hold up any better or not. They need to make some stuff out of Kevlar.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it gets more and more expensive. I know if you order from some companies, they'll like ship you an extra vest because they know it's going to fall apart. It's like, here's a bunch of weights, plus an extra vest.
Not one of those things you can go cheap on.
Right.
I don't know.
It's cheaper to eat your way up to 245, probably.
Pro-
Than fucking buy a Kevlar weight vest. Like fucking Iron Man shirt.
Yeah, I mean, it might be easier if you put on like a flak jacket, but those aren't that heavy.
You stuff your shirt full of sand and marbles and shit. Tuck your pants in. Make yourself heavy.
And
Put like little
has
1 kilo plates.
anyone actually done Scott scaled?
No.
No.
We've never actually written it up or told anyone to do it or anything. It was just
We're gonna have to come up with some of that. Maybe I'll do. That's what we'll do.
Make it a daily WOD.
All right. So
Everybody's got to multiply their shit by 1.5 to get to this.
Scott scaled turned out to be it's kind of a joke, but it kind of grew into something like that was you started calling Unfit for CrossFit.
well.
Or just Unfit.
That came up because I just decided I was going to start doing whatever Metcons I could. Just whatever. It was
So you
gonna
went away from just scaling stuff, and you're like, well, I'm gonna pick shit I can actually do.
Right. I started following your competition cycle when I started the games, the Open, and then when I was going to do Metcons, I just figured I'd pick 2 or 3 a week that that kind of fit what I could do, and if it was stuff that I needed to work on, I would do that. So I started doing that. I was doing that for 3 or 4 weeks, and then I mentioned to Chris that I was gonna do Helen one weekend on a
That's
Saturday.
the wall balls, right?
Yeah.
Wall ball hell.
No.
No, Helen's kettlebell swings.
Karen.
Oh,
Sorry.
Karen. Okay.
And I convinced Chris to jump in with me, and so we did Karen that day and killed ourselves, and then we just started joking around about we're not really cut out for CrossFit, and we're the opposite of the prototype body, and and that led to we're unfit for CrossFit, and it's kind of stuck.
And when you guys did Karen, what was your times? I mean, do you remember?
I think mine was
Was yours like 11 something?
yeah.
Like 11:45 or something like that?
Yeah, 10 something, I
Or
think.
maybe 10:45.
And Chris, this was your first CrossFit workout.
pretty much.
Besides, you've
I-
done Fran before.
I did Fran at the CrossFit cert, level 1 cert, where I had a bunch of guys in red shirts, masculine, yelling at me, "Come on, bro, you can do it, bro." And by mid-second round, I was on a plyo box, starting for the pull-up, starting with the height where the bar was basically at my forehead, just desperately trying to get my chin above it. So that was toast. But yeah, up until that point, that was the only CrossFit WOD I'd ever done. And then for this one, I had the pleasure of being yelled at the whole time by Mike McGolder, who's our best CrossFitter at Faction, but of course, just was very focused on making sure I did not take any rest. He's like, come on, string five together. I'm like, God damn, man, this is ridiculous. But I think my time was maybe like, it was at least 2 or 3 minutes after Scott got done with his. But in all fairness to me, Scott had done that before.
Right. I actually did. Did faster in the open WOD that had Karen in it.
Oh, it had the 150 wall balls and
and then you did the double unders.
We did the 25-pound med ball, was it? Or
no, 20.
20. But you had done it with 30, right?
Yeah, I've done it with the 30-pound.
You did 150 with 30.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
For listeners at home, that's not fun.
Just for fun, yeah.
You do have a little bit of an advantage.
16 minutes.
You do have a larger range of motion, but you can kind of reach up there and.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about that during the open. The toss part, is definitely easier because it's like a foot for me to throw it up there. But the fast part is gravity, and that's where I've got the longest fight against gravity in my squat. So I'm super slow at them. Takes me 11 minutes, and then some of those people were killing it in 6 or 7.
What's the fastest time you've seen on that WOD? Like, what's McGolder doing that shit in?
5, probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably. There's some sub 5s out there, I think.
Craziness, man.
Part of it is even if you were to go to unbroken, it'd be tough to get much faster than that.
And then after that WOD, it's about novelty and soreness and stuff. I was sore, very, very bad sore for like a week and a couple days after that. Like at work,
it's pretty funny to watch him walk at work.
I was just throwing my feet out in front of me, like using the momentum of my foot, pivoting, like just putting my foot down, and it's like locking my knee to take a step, and not even contracting my quadriceps to put force to the ground. And then, Janie got off the couch one night and like just like grazed my thighs, like, oh God, what are you doing? Punching me in the thighs? Like I barely touched you. I was like, palpation wise, just incredibly sore and just swollen for like a week. And again, I squat 3 or 4 times a week, heavy, and do all this stuff, but it just was so severe.
Just such a novel thing for you that it just destroyed your.
Yeah, and every workout we've done since is really, really hard during, but like 5 minutes after you're up off the ground, you feel no residual effect from it, not even tired. But that workout was Trainwreck City. Really bad.
I don't know. I've left doing months and months of weightlifting only, where you're not going to go over 3 reps. Mm-hmm. And I've done Fran, which is a lot of thrusters with only 95 pounds, and sore for a week.
And now we did Fran's one. We did again. Scott did really good. You did all your pull-ups, right? I mean, you did actual
really good.
Well, look, again, here's a guy who's heavy and tall, and then I will say now proudly, I'm actually 297 today. Hey now,
under 300,
but I wasn't 300. I was about 300 or 301. We did Fran, about 6'1.5 inches. So obviously for me, pull-ups are a real bitch. Like I do one jumping pull-up at a time. But this time, in contrast to the last time I did Fran, this time I did them all off the ground, starting with my feet flat and arms fully extended, barely grabbing the bar. So you're pulling from there.
It's kind of just dorsiflexion to get you up.
Quick dorsiflex, pop myself up, get my chin over.
Or plantar flex. Yeah,
whatever it is. Plantar flex, yeah. So I think that's pretty good. And then Scotty, I mean, you did all your pull-ups. You did, like, you string a few together for kipping, didn't you?
A couple, 2 maybe every once in a while.
But look, I mean, somebody who's like 150 pounds and does fucking 40 kipping pull-ups in a row doesn't get the mechanical disadvantages of being 300 or 240 and then trying to do that again. It's much different activity.
Oh, for sure. I find that like in coaching class, and there's people who, the bigger people who are doing, anytime we have body weight exercises, and then the small people whip through it, and these people are just like, what? And it's like, man, it's a totally different workout for you than these little people. Like,
yeah.
It's like, it's like you just sometimes when people do RX and then add weight to their bar, they'll put RX up. I'm like, man, these people should be RX up on any body. It's like, man.
RX up for life. I am always wearing a big-ass weight vest. It's called my flesh.
And you came to me with the idea for, you should, we're like, man, we should do Unfit for CrossFit. But And I thought that was a really great idea, and then the wheels started turning for me, and I was thinking, you can't do that because of the trademark.
Right.
And I wasn't going to spend any money calling lawyers to ask.
Right. I'm not either. It's a novelty for me, and I'll keep saying it, and I'm just calling it Unfit at this point, and which kind of applies for me more than just CrossFit. I mean,
right.
You watch me get onto an airplane and try to sit down in a regular seat.
So we're going to start a website called Unfit, or maybe we'll just put it on Fitter TV. We'll just put
Unfitter.tv.
We'll just have a T-shirt there. It only comes in 2XL, right?
Right.
You want T-shirts that are only 2XL because those are the only people that belong in the club.
Exactly.
And then maybe
although
we
should consider shirts that are bigger than 2X. If you're 4X,
Oh yeah,
you're definitely not
2X or bigger.
2X is the minimum.
Yeah, it's the smallest size we offer.
Y'all got tall tees?
Yeah.
2X tall counts, right?
Oh yeah.
If you're extra large tall, that shit don't count. You're just too tall, skinny bitch. Put on
Have
some
you looked
weight.
into the trademark for Unfit for high intense circuit training for time?
.com? I don't think
man.
that would look good on the back of a T-shirt or
Right.
a bumper sticker. That particular.
To be a hard domain to type in.
Right.
I'm actually really proud of you for sticking with it. I think that you come in and you have.
I'm fucking sticking with it too.
No, I'm talking about coming in and doing CrossFit for years.
Oh, okay.
So he's been a member of the gym for years, and
Plugging away, man.
you come in and everything has to be scaled for you all the time, and not because you're out of shape, just because the movements aren't conducive to your body type, which is not something you can change. So the fact that you stuck around and said, hey, I'm going to hang out with these guys and keep doing this, even though I'm not able to do what everyone else is doing, because a lot of people, what draws them to CrossFit is a community that everyone's doing the same thing.
Right.
So, how does that feel, and kind of what would you advise other people who may be unfit for CrossFit?
My experience with that is, when I came into CrossFit, I thought I was in great shape, and I was in great shape for a specific activity. Obviously, playing basketball. Not many people were in better shape for basketball. Got the height advantage, and then at the time I could pretty much run up and down the court all day, and I was quicker than most guys my height, and so I thought I'm in great shape. And then I show up for my first day of CrossFit at the old gym, and the workout, and Doug was coach on Saturday, and the workout we did was 5 rounds of 7 thrusters and 11 burpees, or vice versa. But it's thrusters and burpees, which are the 2 worst things possible when you're 6'10" and have super long femurs. Thrusters were so ugly. It was, looking back, I thought Doug was being great, but at the time he was just going, yeah, that's good. Don't do that anymore. Just go as low as you can, because I'm sure my front squat on the thruster was just awful looking, and I was probably going about half depth, and then I couldn't even finish the workout. It was 5 rounds, and I was using a bar, no weight on it. So I made it through 4 rounds and then gassed out and quit. And so, to stick it out and be here 2 years later, and, as Chris said, I just did my first unscaled Fran a couple of weeks ago, and actually completed it. When I first started, I couldn't even do a pull-up. I could probably struggle through 1 dead hang pull-up, but I couldn't kip, couldn't string any together, and so to make it through 45 pull-ups now 2 years later.
What brought you to the gym?
Actually, Chris was talking about it at work, and I was just looking for a place to work out, and I asked him about it. I heard he was part of the crew, and
I have no memory of this.
And he said, yeah, sure, come down and get your ass kicked. And I went, that sounds fun. I did that for 8 years, professionally playing basketball, where every practice was brutal, and
So had you known about CrossFit, or did he describe it to you, or did you just kind of show up to the old-ass garage gym?
He kind of explained a little bit, and then I think he directed me to the website. So I kind of looked at it. I watched the What is CrossFit video, of course, and said, oh yeah, that looks novel and fun and challenging, and I like to be challenged. And I've kind of joked that I was looking for a challenge, and I picked CrossFit because I couldn't find a horse racing uniform in my size. So this is the next biggest challenge to be successful at.
Do you think also you dig it ultimately because I mean, you played high-level sports. I played lesser level college football. But the thing that is the same about those things is that you have those conditioning sessions. They're just like, you have those thoughts. You're like, why am I doing this? I could just be playing video games in my dorm room. I could just be chilling after school with friends. Why am I running 10 340-yard sprints on this field right now with these assholes? But there's something about that that's sort of addicting. And when you're a former athlete and you get in the CrossFit setting, like today when like we hit that 5th round of that WOD, and I'm like looking out the back window going, why exactly do I agree to do this? Like I can barely breathe. I'm like feeling that pain, like this is not what I want to do. And then I go, okay, I see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick it up, squeeze up those last 2 rounds, and you lay on the floor gasping, and you realize, wow, it's pretty awesome. You get that little rush and that sense of familiarity with your past of like these brutal competitive training sessions that if you don't do CrossFit or something sort of very similar, you can't necessarily replicate that. You can't go to a gym and get that sensation of like being pushed to your brink. It's impossible to do that.
It's fun.
I think just being human, we as humans need that, or else, I think there's a part of our physiology that craves that metabolic demand.
Like a little bit of a fight or flight type scenario where you're like, I want to quit, but my buddies tell me, no, come on, dude, let's do this.
Let's go kill this buffalo.
It's certainly effective, but it gets addicting, man, like anything else.
Yep.
Yeah.
And at the end of the workout, you're like, I will never just agree to do this. And then like an hour later, like, what's the next WOD? Like any junkie.
Well, I think also like when I was younger, say a decade ago, and
you are getting old, man.
I am getting old. The workouts that I thought were hard then, I look back on stuff I would do in the gym, which is Globo gym type workouts, compared to what I do now. This is definitely much more satisfying.
There's the stuff you used to do in the gym. Like I was telling somebody the other day about curls. Like you wouldn't probably never consider even leaving the gym before you got in like 5 sets of curls, right?
No, yeah, I mean
crushing 5 sets of like 10 or 15 reps. Now I do like one set of like 5 reps of the curls. I'm like, God, this is the boringest, stupidest thing. I just have to stop doing it.
You just got to bench a couple times a week too. Got to have your chest and triceps day.
Man. I tell you, speak to a 30 or 40-year-old guy about benching. Like, fuck benching, stupidest exercise in the world.
Every guy I know that competed in strength sports or maybe something like football where you're moving a lot of weight and stuff like that, everyone's shoulders are banged up. I was talking to this kid Chase I'm coaching right now, he's a football player, about to go to Texas Tech, and I worked out with him one day and we were doing bench. He goes, "Oh, you could be pretty good at that." I'm like, "Yeah, if I could do it more than once a month."
Yeah.
So like, if I do it more than once a month, my shoulder starts feeling like it's gonna explode.
Yeah, I don't know any. I know very few people I've trained with who were really good at the bench and now are older who didn't have problems now benching. Like my former strength coach couldn't put 135 on his chest and press it because of his shoulders and elbows and stuff. I think he had advanced degeneration of the shoulder joints. Could probably consider advanced surgery. But I know that 5-10 years before, he was benched like 455 for sets of like 5 reps. Yeah. And then benching heavily often to be able to support that kind of strength. And now I see like if you want to push and maintain your strength, you got to use such a wide variety of pushing exercises. Like you should be probably mostly incline pressing and standing strict pressing the older you get, I think.
Oh yeah.
And then that stuff will allow you to still lay on a bench and move okay weight.
Right.
Because you can use less weight, further range of motion, and also train your legs and your abs and stuff. And then the incline is a more favorable shoulder angle, and you can push good weight, and that helps your press. And both those things equal a bench, but a bench does not equal the other 2 things. You can bench press all day. You can bench 400. I think people bench 400 pounds and can't press 135 with their head standing. That's
a problem.
Useless strength. That's pretty useless strength.
Scott, do you have any injuries or anything that kind of came out of basketball you have to work around?
Yeah, I mean my ankles are scar tissued up.
They got like no flexibility.
Yeah, especially on my left foot. Really, I can't flex my foot very well, so that hinders squatting ability. And
on top of long femurs,
right,
you have no ankle mobility.
Is it from years of taping them up heavy so you don't roll them on the court?
No, it's 2 really severe ankle sprains and then swelling turned into scar. I have some. I figured it out at one point. A doctor figured it out. It's some kind of, it's not a syndrome, but it's some thing where scar tissue calcifies. So I've got spots where it was swollen that's now turned to calcified, and it's basically another bone in there that wasn't there. Yeah, I mean, on one of my feet, it looks like I got 2 ankle bones on one side.
Weird. You could be evolving into the next.
No, I mean
version of humanity.
it's a not a common thing, but a fairly common thing, enough that you can find information on. But it's not like I've got some crazy syndrome or anything. But
so it's just restricts range of motion, doesn't cause any undue pain or anything, does it?
I mean, if I
crack it through that range of motion.
When I was playing, every once in a while, I would just it would go a little too far, and it would feel like I sprained my ankle, but I really hadn't. It just over torqued it or whatever.
You have any advice for tall guys like yourself that are trying to do CrossFit? What would you tell them getting into it at first?
Mobility is huge, so the more flexibility you have, the better. It's obviously going to make a huge difference. And then don't go past your limits. If you can't do it right, it's better not to do it. And that's why I did a year or so with Doug on rear elevated foot split squats or a bunch of single leg stuff to work on strength, and we worked on mobility at the same time, and so I've gotten to a point where you still probably wouldn't call my squats pretty, but I don't think I'm putting.
They're definitely deeper, and your knees are in proper position as compared to a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I round my back a little bit on front squats, but it's nowhere near. I mean, like Doug would look at me horrified if I tried some of those squats, but he just don't do that anymore. We started working on, at one point we were working on, because at first I said, Doug, I want to work on a specialized program so I can do CrossFit. I want to be able to do all the workouts. So he was programming CrossFit style movements, but aspects of them or assistance work or whatever to develop that stuff. And we were working on squat cleans, full cleans really, and I would do one, and he'd say, "Yeah, let's not do that anymore," because my just hunched over at the back just to get down there, and so come a ways, and still probably got a little bit to go, but I don't think that ankle mobility is ever going to get there. So
I know some things we've done for you, like if you want to do snatch, use the Texas deadlift bar.
Right,
it's a little bit longer, so for tall guys, that might be a good option. You might want to go buy one of those. Doing snatches off blocks.
Yep.
Man, if you have super long femurs, just getting in position at the bottom is going to be super tough, and it's not healthy.
Yeah.
Like forcing yourself to get down there, not a good idea. It's not like you're not going to get over it.
Right.
It's not like you're going to fix that problem.
To that point, I mean, there's nothing overly special about that diameter of a plate or the width and diameter of a barbell.
Right.
It's just the way it is, and it fits most people's needs. And if you use a longer bar, a specialty bar, which for certain things and certain injuries are awesome, or if you adjust the height of the bar so you can keep more efficient positions that allow you to use more weight in a better form, then you should do that. Because if you're 6'10", you shouldn't be expected to pull off the floor with the same mechanics as a guy who's 5'5". That's silly business.
So don't be hard-headed. Don't think that just because you're in a CrossFit class that you have to do what everyone else is doing.
Right.
Now, if you want to compete at the CrossFit Games or something like that, yeah, you're going to have to meet those standards that are standard. But
we are not talking to you, friend.
No.
If you can't grab that bar on the ground, we are not talking about you.
I'm talking about longevity here and staying healthy.
I want to go to the CrossFit Games now. I think I can take Rich Froning. You can't do that. It's never going to happen.
The reason I run a CrossFit gym is to really help people out, so that I can still wipe my ass when I'm 85, and so can our members when they're 85. They'll be wiping their own ass. And
so you're going to let your members wipe your ass when you're 85? I didn't see that in my contract when I signed up.
You didn't see the small print at the bottom.
Come into the bathroom.
Started a gym, so I wouldn't have to wipe my ass. Yeah, that works.
I mean, I did sign a long-term contract. I didn't realize it was until you were 85.
Yeah, you got to do what is right for you, and you got to progress to the goals that are correct for you.
Right.
And
if you're not,
Scott sounds like he laid out some very good ones.
If you're not a CrossFit Games, hopeful, you might not. I'm not telling you to give up. I'm just saying, be smart.
Are there any super tall dudes out there kicking ass that are top competitors for the games?
I am surprised sometimes by the height of some of the guys that do really well. When I'm talking about, I'm talking maybe 6'1", 6'2".
Right. That are at the
We're good. Keep going.
Okay.
It's this awkward moment there,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
the tallest guys that are at the the championships are 6 foot 6'1" maybe. Every once in a while you see a guy at a competition, like at our faction games we had Kyle Mooneyham what's he like 6'5" or 6'6" maybe.
He's a tall kid,
and
yeah.
he's very strong and flexible and so he gets it done. But as strong as he is, he's not competing at the
Last year he was competitive
championship level.
Last year he was competitive and went to regionals, or he qualified for regionals. This
Right.
year he didn't. He's getting more and more competitive. Nate Schrader, he's a relatively tall CrossFitter he was top 10 at the games last year. Would like to see him there again, but I met him in person and he's just, he's a big guy. Period.
Yeah.
And I think the games are built for those guys this year a little bit too.
You're never going to see anybody over 6'6" at the championships. I don't think. It's such a disadvantage with range of motion and how long it takes you to do a.
Well, it's gotten so competitive now that you're not going to see. I think 6'2" would be a really big guy at this point. Kind of like with weightlifting. Yeah. You don't go to like the Olympics and look at weightlifters. These guys
There was
there's some
a
big
Bulgarian super who was like 6'8", who was in the Olympics in Greece. He's
super heavy though.
Lifted in Sydney. He was like 6'8", and like
400 pounds.
I don't know. He's at least like 330, 350.
Yeah, but he's not doing range of motion reps for time. Is the difference?
No, but you see snatching. He was snatching like over 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Speaking of tall, I did see that Reebok recently custom made the world's tallest man his own shoes.
Nice.
Yeah,
The world's tallest man or United States tallest man?
the world's tallest man.
Huh.
I saw something just like 2 days ago about our tallest man getting made specialty shoes by some local shoemaker. I don't know.
But they weren't Reebok, baby. Woo.
Were they
He probably got some nanos.
Were they
ZTP's trying to get the
zigzags?
Reebok sponsorship here.
They make them zigzags, bro?
Probably now he's like
Zoom
an extra
zoom style
2
shoes?
inches. He's probably running like a champ. But what's funny is he was in a wheelchair until he got these shoes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Now.
Magic shoes.
Yeah.
Well, what's that all about? He started walking?
And I want to read.
No, I mean he'd walked before, but then he
Did he get up and start walking once he put the shoes on?
they showed
Some
footage.
advanced marketing strategy by Reebok.
The Jesus shoes.
Did you see the picture? CTP, I need to direct you to this after, so you can put this up right now. There's a picture on BuzzFeed today, a cool website, one of the best. It's the guy who plays for the, I think he plays for the Timberwolves or something, but he's 6'11", 295.
Kevin Love.
No,
White guy?
he's a center. I mean, Kevin Lowe ain't no 295, 7 tall guy. But he's standing next to the United States tallest guy. And the guy looks to be like 8 feet tall. It makes this guy look like, it's like me standing next to you. But you're a 300-pound, 7 foot tall man. This guy's gigantic. I can only imagine the challenges this guy faces. I mean, he's probably at least, he looks like he's at least like 7'5" or 7'6", 7'7" or something.
Yeah.
At least that. And he looks to be at least like 150 pounds heavier than this guy who's 290, 300 pounds. It's probably at least, he's probably close to 500 pounds.
If he ever does start CrossFit, and you guarantee there's going to be a sick video on the journal.
Oh, yeah. Gigantism to fit.
So what brought you to CrossFit?
Swollen pituitary gland, bro. That's what brought me to CrossFit.
I want to talk a little about. Doug made you a specific program to help you get better at some of the movements.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that was helpful, or do you think maybe it's one of those things where maybe it's about as helpful, 50% as helpful as you thought it was going to be, and now you're kind of doing your own thing?
No, I definitely think it was very helpful. I mean, Doug has a crap ton of knowledge. Anybody that knows him knows that. And I would have never come up with single leg work.
Right.
I keep using that as an example, but I just wasn't from. I'd done lunges and crap like that, but I'd never done rear elevated split squats.
So you did that for a year, and you came back. You feel like you had improved your range of motion, and you could do more of the CrossFit scaled stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't even think about it until I had done that basically for a year, and then I got to the point where I could see that I could do a power clean, or I could do a squat clean, or jerk a decent amount of weight where before I couldn't, and I could do a full depth squat. And
maybe you guys should get together and do like a program for the Unfit. Like do this for a year, and then you'll be able to ease into CrossFit better later.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he had to kind of get in shape to lift. That's what a lot of people have to do to lay the foundation for success later on, and not just sort of foolishly rushing into what you think you should be doing now, which is a path to early failure. If you come into CrossFit and you get frustrated because pull-ups and thrusters and all that stuff are hard, then you haven't felt anything that most beginners don't feel intensely. And you feel that feeling of seeing everybody else do it and seemingly being awesome at it. But you forget that maybe they started in the same position as you. It just took them a few years to get to where they are. So patience is always a huge thing. Whether you want to be really fit or really strong, it's still a really huge deal. That's what I would say. I mean, do you assholes not agree that patience is good? Say something.
Absolutely. No,
Everybody's staring at me like I'm an asshole. Like, "Ugh, fuck you, bro."
Fuck some patience. No, for sure. And I think a lot of people fall into a trap of thinking, I mean, along those lines of what we're talking about. It's like, oh, I can't do what everybody else is doing, man.
Well, I think it's interesting, too. We have women that have been training for close to a year. They're like, Mike, I can't do a pull-up yet. What do I need to do? I'm like,
you've lost like 40 pounds.
I mean, just be patient, You got look at where you came from and how long it took you to go from, whatever shape you were in when you were 20 years old, and now you're, 35. That's 15 years of getting out of shape. And you expect in 6 months to be on top of the world?
To be into your high school pants.
And only that, you can't give up whatever these, you can't give up these other,
Careful what you say.
Yeah, I'm trying to be careful. They have a hard time giving up like some of these cheat meals, or they have a hard time getting enough sleep, and these are very common things I hear from people who have a hard time reaching their goals. It's like, oh, but I have to have this,
I love
or
bread.
Work is killing me, so I can't get enough sleep. It's like, well, and
because you're the only person whose job is hard.
That's right. But the whole patience thing goes in with that is, they expect to put in 50% work, or, if they put in 100%, got enough sleep, they probably wouldn't need as much patience. But
to think that if you put in a year's worth of effort, it sounds like such a long time, but really in that year, Scott does a mobility goes by in a blink of an eye. I mean, he's already been in a few years, and he's already made all these improvements.
Well, just think about how many training sessions that is. How many times you get train in a week? Say 4 days a week. So you might get like 200 training sessions in.
You got to be in it for the long haul. This is not a do it for a month to get in shape for the beach and quit this shit. No, this is a lifetime pursuit of, training, gaining experience, adjusting your training, adjusting your diet, and re-pursuing new goals.
Absolutely.
James, are you telling us to take a break?
Producers telling us we have to take a break. We're going to take a break. I got a few more topics we want to discuss. Watch whatever cool video CTP puts together for us.
CTP, what are you putting up here? And with that,
see you again in a minute.
See you in a blur.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Welcome back to Technique WOD. Today I want to talk about where to stand if you're coaching somebody else during weightlifting movements, or also where to place the camera if you want to record yourself. That way you can get the best angle and the best view on your lift, so you get the most feedback. So generally we're going to coach or record ourselves at 90-degree angles. So what that means is that we're either going to be head on like I am exactly right now. That way if I have my knees dive in, it's really easy to see. If I go to pull and I bend my elbows, it's really easy to see. There's a few things head on like that are very easy to see from straight in front of the lifter. Likewise, straight from the side is the other best angle in my opinion. That makes it very easy to see things like heels coming off the ground, if my butt's coming up too quick, or if I'm maintaining a very upright back angle like I'm supposed to. It lets me know if I'm round. It lets me know if I'm hopping forward or if I'm hopping backward during the movement. And you can also see very accurately the bar path. For the most part, if I have a vertical reference line like this, if I have a vertical reference line in the bar set up right on the side of it, I want the bar to come back toward me almost the entire time. So as I stand, I'm rocking towards my heels. I'm at the top of the first pole here, and you can see the bar has traveled into me, and I never want to go forward around my knees. Okay? So that's on the first pole. The bar comes back toward me, and then the second pole, if I do things correctly, I should hop backwards just a little bit. Or at a minimum, I should hop and land in the same spot. So if you can see me here, the wood is in front of my feet. I'm standing on the rubber. At a minimum, I should kind of hop and land in the same spot. But ideally, I would be heel heavy enough at the top of my first pole to where I jump, I hop backwards just a little bit. Okay? I'd say any more than half a foot length is excessive, but an inch or two up to a half a foot length is probably ideal. What you don't want to do is have your butt pop up, be toe heavy, and then you have to chase the weight, try to jump yourself under it with big weight, you're bound to fall forward and miss the weight in front of you. So here's a couple examples. So for the clean, have my butt down, I'm gonna rock towards my heels, and then when I catch, I pop back quite a bit. Okay, again, that might be a little bit of an exaggeration. See if I can make that a little bit more of a normal lift like it would be if it was heavier. So again, butt down, I rock towards my heels, and then I hop back just a little bit. Okay, so what tends to happen is, again, if you get out of position on your first pull, usually it's going to pull you forward. So if I do any number of the common errors, let's go a little bit. If I do any number of the common errors where I go to pull and my butt comes up too fast, it's going to pull me forward. Okay? Or if I'm just simply not rocking towards my heels and I'm just standing, see if I can do this. If my shoulders are behind the bar and I'm just standing straight up, it's going to come forward a little bit. It's not being pulled into me here. So I always want to rock with my shoulders back, my butt down, or rock towards my heels where the weight's coming into me. Now I have a vertical shin, and so I can jump and shrug and catch it on my shoulders. Okay, so this is something you can play with. Some people like to go like this. They'll put themselves in a rack. This actually is not the best setup for this because these, like that. Or maybe it's even a better setup for it, depending on how you look at it. Because these are kind of in the way. But what they'll do is they'll put something right in front of the bar. Oftentimes we'll just put it right up against the rogue rig. And then you can do your pulls. You can do your pulls and you can see if the weight comes into you. And the weight's clanging all the time, you know that you're going too far forward. You can have a little buffer, maybe a half an inch or an inch, but for the most part, whether you're cleaning or actually here, whether you're snatching, the weight should come into you before you do your double knee bend and you jump. Even on your second pull, let me do this slow mo. Even on your second pull, if you're jumping back, chances are you're going to catch the weight behind that vertical reference line. So if I'm here, I rock towards my heels, and I go to jump, I'm still probably going to land behind the line. Okay? Oftentimes in class what we do is we take the PVCs, we'll have one person snatching, we'll have another person either put the bar right next to it so they can just get an idea of where they're landing, or occasionally we'll have to put the bar right in front of it as well. Okay? And they can just stand off to the side like this, and if the person's bar gets in the way, just say they're facing this way like I was, they can just stand right here, and then if anything happens they can kind of just step off the side and the stick will fall on the ground, but no one's ever gotten hurt, no big deal. The other thing that we tend to do is we line people up, again, on a line, so I can see where my feet are starting, then I can see when I jump if I hop forward, or if I hop backwards just a little bit. So those are some ideas to give you feedback on your lifts. If you have some type of cool program like Dartfish, then you can insert, a digital vertical reference line just like that, and then you can, digitize the end of the bar path so you can see the line off the very tip of the bar coming into you, and then coming forward a little bit, and then catching right on your shoulders. Maybe I'll tag a video that shows an example of that. So all kinds of good ideas there. Hope you enjoyed it. See you tomorrow.
Start that paragraph over again.
So at my friend's gym, CrossFit North Atlanta, Charles Barkley started training. He got a lot of video of it and stuff, and it was pretty. It actually reminded me of kind of like he was doing thrusters. It kind of reminded me of like he had a hard time getting that depth because he's a big dude.
Yeah, Charles is big.
How tall is Charles?
About 6'4".
Yeah, so he's not
Probably
as
over-
tall as you, but that's
No,
still.
he's 6'4", but at the time he was probably 340 or 350.
And he's just big.
He's a big, thick
And
dude,
then
yeah.
there's he's got a
big.
whole history, a long basketball history where he's probably got ankle problems and he's probably had knee whatever and all sorts of injuries. And I saw him training there I know he was training there for at least a month. They even brought it up. He was talking. He was a commentator for a basketball game, and they were kind of messing with him. Hey, I heard you doing this CrossFit thing,
Right.
and he was kind of like, yeah. And it was on all over Facebook for about a month,
Yeah.
and then it kind of trailed off. And then a few months later, I saw him doing a commercial for Weight Watchers for Men.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, you sell out.
Well, they're actually paying him a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And CrossFit.
And it's
No,
worked. He's lost a whole bunch of weight.
Well, I wonder if he got some of the results from CrossFit and then did the commercial for Weight
Well,
Watchers.
it
but who
doesn't
knows?
sound like he really stuck with CrossFit, did he?
You know what? I don't know. I haven't. I'm assuming he did not, but there's no telling.
Yeah. I mean, he may be doing some sort of cross-functional training, but
Right.
doesn't seem like he... You'd think they'd still be talking about it if he was still around and progressing. And
Right. Yeah, the video that my buddy put on Facebook was pretty funny because
Yeah.
it's this chick just kicking his ass.
Right.
And then he's off in the corner like,
He probably didn't like that too much.
Yeah.
Surprise.
You're talking about Charles Barkley?
Yeah. And Charles
What do you
Barkley
think
was a
about-
just ridiculous athlete in his
You paying-
prime. I mean,
paying
All right.
attention, bro?
that guy could jump so high, especially for the amount of weight he was carrying. I mean,
oh yeah.
he had like a 40-inch vertical and he's 270.
What was the old story I used to hear about his training? Didn't he would sit just flat-footed and jump over like a
Picket
chest-high-
fence in his front yard or something. It was like a
Yeah.
3-foot, 4-foot picket fence, and he would just do bounding over it, just flat-footed.
Jeez.
Yeah, but if you watch that guy's highlight reel, Scott showed me that, man. He had a dope string of years where he was just capable of some exceptional things.
I mean, yeah,
He probably just got tired. I mean, everybody's granted a string in their life. Like, I'm just tired of moving so much, and he just retired and enjoyed himself for a little while. And I'm happy to see him get back in shape so we can hear his awesome sports commentary for years and years to come.
Charles was bad. I mean, there was a time
Yeah.
where he led the NBA in rebounding at 6'4", which is pretty incredible. I mean, most of those guys are 6'10" or 7-footers that are.
Is that just his ability to time the jump to go get the ball?
It's timing, but it's really work.
The fight for it, right?
Defense and rebounding is effort for the most part. You got to fight for position, and he's got some super powerful legs, so he can box out and get wherever he wants. So, then on top of that,
Well,
like I
Dennis
said,
Rodman was also not
he's
a
got
very
a
tall
40-inch
guy.
vertical. So,
Dennis Rodman wasn't a very tall guy either, right? He was like 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
Compared to guys, he was.
Well, I guess
he was,
that is tall.
Wasn't he playing center a lot of the time, basically?
So the difference with Dennis Rodman is that was his only thing that he really did, and he would take himself out of the offense half the time just in the name of getting an offensive rebound, or and he had he's playing with Michael Jordan and those guys, so he could get away with that.
It's true. Yeah.
But
he had awesome hair.
But he had a knack for knowing where the ball was going. So don't.
You know what's funny is Dennis Rodman. I mean, he was a freak back in the day, but if he were to walk on the basketball court now, he'd probably just be another basketball player. If those guys are
he's some of Chris Anderson.
There's
or
that
whatever
guy, he's
guy's
got
name.
that-
neck
Birdman.
tattoos. Yeah,
free bird on his neck.
yeah.
I love, I
my
love
God.
that fucking guy.
I was
man.
talking about getting a throat tattoo, and then was it you that?
Yeah.
that pulled up an image on your phone
Yeah.
and showed it to me, I was like,
Dude, let me tell
that
you-
is a throat tattoo.
Dude, let me tell you, man.
Legit.
I want one as well, but one, I definitely can't swing that in corporate America. But two, every time I got a needle even within like 6 inches of my neck, it was the most terrible thing. I've gotten as high as a collarbone, and it is terrible.
And
Terrible.
My tattoo artist and I are talking about that if you have a daughter, then you have to get the throat tattoo. Because then anyone who
that?
tries to
Nothing more intimidating.
nothing's more intimidating. Like, oh, I'm gonna go meet this girl's dad. This dude has
a fucking neck tattoo, bro.
tattoo.
But then
on
what
his
if your
throat.
daughter turns into an asshole and you're like, oh shit.
Well, I think I'm just gonna get a bow tie.
Tattooed on your fucking neck? Not a bad idea.
So that way, like I can
Always
it'll be
classy.
intimidating because it's a tattoo, and then it just won't be as intimidating if I don't want it to. I can just put on like a shirt and pretend like it,
You should get "fuck you" tattooed across your neck.
All right, we're getting
These are all
way
great
off,
ideas.
way off topic.
I support them.
Way off topic. We want to talk a little bit about making weight swings. We're talking about like just being big in general. One of the things that Chris is doing, he's afraid that he's actually going to become fit by doing the unfit workouts.
If I become fit, okay, and by fit meaning if I regress below a size XX T-shirt, then I effectively get kicked out of the group because Scott has these guidelines for
And then
membership.
it'll be a wolf pack of one.
That's right.
At that point.
My
Well, there's other
wolf
fat,
pack,
there's other
wolf
fat
pack
people he
will
can
have
recruit.
shrunk.
There's other fat people he can recruit to replace me. But that's what makes it so painful. Is that I'm so replaceable. But yeah, that's the risk of pursuing activities that could make you fit, is that you may actually become quite fit.
It's probably not a bad thing, Chris, to get kicked out of the Unfit
I know,
for a CrossFit
but
club.
I dig it. It's my little way of belonging.
I wouldn't take that as a negative. Really.
I don't want to leave you, bro. I don't want to leave you.
And we were talking a little bit before we started the podcast, talking about weight swings and how they can be beneficial. We were talking a little bit about how, in my experience, trying to put on lean mass over time, slowly, or I don't want to put on fat mass, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna try to put on a pound like every 2 weeks, and it'll be lean mass only. That's excruciatingly hard, almost impossible. I've seen it, but it takes years. So I've seen guys like Mike McGoldrick did it. He just ate clean and trained hard, but it's been like 3 years. And
It's a harder way of doing it.
He's stayed the same weight, and he's gotten leaner, and but that's years and years and years.
You guys say this forever grind stuff. That's actually pretty shitty advice. It's not very funny or effective or awesome to forever grind. You shouldn't always grind. That's the whole point of training smartly. Sometimes you shouldn't be grinding.
Well, for the 20-year-olds, forever grind seems like a good idea. I think
Sells T-shirts, right?
right. Doug and I have found, and
Forever fat goes on our T-shirt on the Chris Moore edition.
we've tracked our weights. Doug and I have both competed in weight class sports, so we made those big, like 30. I made up to 30-pound swings in less than a year, up and back down, and I think Doug's made probably even 40-pound swings, maybe more.
Yeah,
in a
I think
year.
I've got you guys beat.
And anyways, I've done it several times, and I find that every time I put on a lot of mass and I shrink back down, I've put on considerably more. I can put on pounds in a year of lean mass. And I think that's a whole lot better, and I think there's some research to support that as well, that it's a lot better as far, in the end, I'm going to be able to put on more mass total than if I were to just try to keep it really clean the whole time.
Well, I guess there's this idea I discussed actually a long time ago with Brian, Professor Schilling, who's been on this very program, ladies and gentlemen, you may recall.
Episode 4.
But we talked about how ineffective and foolish it is to go medium in anything. To like, I'm going to go in the gym today, and I'm going to do a little bit of weight, but not a whole lot because I'm a little bit tired. And basically, I think that translates to the diet too. I'm going to clean my diet a little bit, but not too much. I don't want to lose too much weight. I don't want to gain too much weight. I mean, this is a pretty common idea, this holding pattern mentality, or, well, I went heavy the other time, I went too light this time, so maybe today I'll just go medium. And that's the most ineffective, stupid thing you can do, because I just think that sort of stimulus lacks the amplitude, the power to actually cause something meaningful to happen with you. So it's like either you should, if you've done too much, you should rest hard to recover.
Right.
And if you haven't done too much, you should fucking do something meaningful to actually get some sort of response. Meaningful, a medium stimulus of any kind, or a medium regression of any kind, going half-ass, going part way, is just a complete waste of time. So, I mean, in my experience, I had this slow, long, linear progression from, like, grade school to college football of, like, just slowly getting bigger. I mean, if you asked me last time I weighed 100 and something, I can't tell you. I mean, I was in 5th grade, I was, like, probably pretty close to 200 pounds. Maybe, like, 185, like, in 5th grade. Not really, I mean, I was still a fat, chubby kid, but always prone to be bigger. And then by the time I played football in 6th, 7th grade, I was 245. And then played in high school. I actually got to like 320, I think, in high school. Then played college football starting at 285 and stayed there. And then getting injured from football pushed my weight from 285 to 370, 375 within a year and a half or 2 years. So almost 100 pounds from already being 300 pounds. It's
And
kind
you
of
already
extraordinary
did that
to
on
think of.
purpose.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I figured, well, I just want to get really huge because I'll lift the most possible weight. And that's true. And I was doing things like drinking protein shakes with scoops of maltodextrin from a beer supply store. It's basically just putting spoonfuls of sugar and just crushing that and doing that like 3 times a day. But I was artificially inflating my body weight, and I stayed there for a couple years. And then I realized my first wise moment that I don't need to be this big. So I kind of had phase 1 was to go from 370, and I went down to like maybe 330, 320, maybe as light as like 315, but mostly 320. That's about the time we opened the gym for the first time. Like I weighed in like at 320 when we did that House of Pain shoot. And then after a while, I was like, this is stupid. I'm tired of powerlifting. I can't just keep training heavy all the time forever. What's the point of this? I'm going to keep on going to meets and doing okay and then coming back and stuff in my face. Something's got to change. So I had my first radical decision was like, I'm going to drop a lot of fucking weight. So then like less than a year, like 8 months or 9 months, I was from 320, 315 maybe, but basically about 320 down like 230. And
you worked with somebody on that.
I did this carb cycling approach. Didn't stick to it super closely, but I did this thing where like days I wouldn't train, I'd have like 0 grams of carbohydrate.
Did you talk to Shelby Starnes?
Yeah, I did work with Shelby for a while.
Okay.
And in hindsight, I thought about it several times. I guess that shit was effective. Some days I'd have like all vegetables and like tuna fish. The one thing that's missing was probably high quality fats. So I was doing myself a disservice with that. Mm-hmm. And some days would be like tuna fish and packages of steamed chicken breast with like 5 packages of pre-cooked Uncle Ben's rice just for convenience. So I was crushing like 500 grams of carbohydrate a day. Like jacking it way up, stripping it all the way down. It seemed to work once I hit the tough bits. But my strength went to shit. I was totally in a not good place. That's when I had my most back pain since I've injured my back playing football. Was I got to like 230. I got down to a situation again where it was hard to squat 300 pounds again. It's too much instability. So maybe that was about May or June of 2009, maybe? Does that ring a bell? Does that sound right? I think since 2010 I've been heavy again. But I was like, fuck it, time to make a swing. So from June 2009 to October, or the first November 2009, I went from like 230, 235 back to like 280, 290. And felt amazing. Like I was alive for the first time in like a year.
And that's what brought the conversation on. I was telling you that you look better now at 300 pounds than you did when you were on your way down at 230.
Yeah, I mean, I think I carry 300 pounds pretty well.
I think you've got much
to be
more
drug-free
mass
and
now.
over the hill and older, to be 300 pounds and able to be reasonably okay fit. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. But I'm at a time where it's probably a good idea to bring it back down. I mean, I think I could be just as strong now at 275 or 270. So that's the next experiment. That's why the CrossFit thing. And then I'm very keen on telling people that you got to be careful about mastering a little area. Really, it could be anything. It could be fitness or personal life, whatever. Once you get your head around a topic, or you're stagnant in one position for too long, you should change it up just for the very sake of figuring out a different way to get back to that homeostasis point. So for me, I'm okay strong. I'm very happy with my strength now and since late last year. But what am I going to do? Keep doing that and be happy with my strength at 290 for the next 10 years? Of course, that's not really a good idea. Now, if I come down to 250 again, or 260 or 270, and replicate that strength while doing conditioning, now I've learned something very useful. A real-world way of juggling these competing demands. So that's why we're doing this. That's my mission in the Unfit for CrossFit challenge, as it were. To
Drop some weight, stay strong.
But put myself in a very uncomfortable position and see what I have to do there to still get what I want out of my body. I mean, I don't really give a shit about meeting any specific goal or this, that, or the other, but if I can be happy with my strength and do these things that are very difficult for me to do, this is a source of new knowledge for me. You don't read about that shit in a book or an article or some training article. You put yourself in the situation. You figure out how to survive it and get better in that situation. And then I can now share real advice with other people who want to try the same thing. That's my motivation behind it.
Nice.
That's what I'm after. So far, interesting. Okay, I can do this WOD. I can do 100 push-ups. I can do these wall balls. And surprisingly, so far, strength's okay.
So Chris, you say you like apply the CrossFit concept to your life and constantly varied as, you know, you kind of...
I don't know how varied other things in my life are. I'd like to think
but you said, like,
that
don't get stagnant in one thing, like change it
I
up.
think it's probably a very good idea.
It's kind of like, you know, CrossFit for life.
Well, I mean, like for me, my training is I'm very prone to do the things I'm good at, like anybody.
Right.
I'm okay at squatting and stuff, and I'm shitty deadlifter, I always have been. But I'm okay at some things. That's where, if you want to come and train with me in a squat, no matter how hard you make that workout, you're not going to freak me out. But when Scott goes, hey, dude, you want to do that WOD with the 200-meter sprints? I go, oh, shit, dude. a real sense of like, fuck, man, I really don't want to do that. But that's how I know I should be doing it, because at this point, that's the most interesting thing I could be doing. But the same thing is true. Like, somebody asks you, hey, man, you want to go see that show? You want to go try that new place? Like, can't we just go to the same old fucking thing we always do?
Right.
Yeah,
Try new foods.
Everybody has that thing.
Oh, I had one of those moments for sure. I wanted to go to like a Mexican fajitas, somewhere we can get fajitas. Me and Justin Lamance one time. This was about 2 months ago, and he was like, "Oh man, let's go to Jason's Deli."
So you went and got
And now
fucking
I'm the
salad.
proud owner of $200 in Jason's Deli gift cards. Thanks, Mom.
Oh, that's why you're eating at Jason's Deli all
Oh
the
no,
time.
it was my birthday. She asked me what I want. I said $200 or whatever you were going to give me
to Jason's Deli.
to Jason's Deli.
Is that how much you like Jason's Deli? Is this...
Dude, you go there.
No, they got a great salad bar for
Free
sure.
salad bar, but you get it to go. This is a note for all of our paleo friends. Go to Jason's Deli, get the to go. You can load up that sucker like in a to go box, and I'm talking load it strong. I told our intern to do it, and he went and he brought back this little get out of here
Amateur hour bullshit.
Yeah. What is this? Fucking curves. So anyway, but you load it up and you pay 8 and some change, and they have eggs and bacon, so that can be your protein, or you can pay like $1 more and get some chicken, whatever. So it's either $8 or $9.
I didn't know they had that option. That's a good option. I didn't know they had that, because I always think they need some kind of protein source.
Yeah, but I mean, eggs and bacon do it if you're living on the cheap.
Well, it's crumbled
If you
bacon.
don't have
It's like
$200
bacon
in
bits.
gift cards.
It's like bacon bits. You got to either go egg.
Hold on.
Oh, I do the cottage cheese.
Bacon bits, but dude, I have people look at me strange when I'm talking like bacon bits, scoop number 1, scoop number 2, and right on up to 8. Like one time I had this lady behind me like, dang, he does it right. I was like, yes, I do. Yes, ma'am, I do. But no, make it fat, and I get 3 fat salads out of it every day. And I'm not talking like a bitch-ass salad. I'm talking like, hell yeah, I don't think I can eat anymore.
You
Like,
go one trip and you scoop out 3 to-go boxes?
not 3 to-go boxes. It's all in the 1 to-go boxes,
Oh, you
but
just
that's
eat
enough
It
for
crams
3
enough in there.
servings. Yeah.
Jesus.
So you divide 8 or 9 by 3, it's worth it. It pans out.
I walk in the office sometimes and I can smell. He's got it open. He's eating it. And I'm like, man, I want a Jason's Deli salad.
That's good shit.
Free plug, Jason's Deli.
Smart
but
stuff, CTP. They're going to shut your ass down.
I keep waiting for the day that there's a sign on the bacon saying like 1 scoop or like if want bacon C counter or something.
Right.
Anyway, what were we talking? Weights,
For
wings?
bacon bits on lockdown.
They actually removed the bean sprouts from the salad bar. I was kind of disappointed in that. I used to like that little sprinkle of little sprouts on top. I guess that shit can give you disease, man.
Oh, for real?
I guess so. That's what. I mean, why else would they do it?
Beats
I mean,
me.
sprouts are growing in dirt and shit. And I guess if you don't clean them good, then get some shit and dirt in your mouth, bro.
And I think it's time to move on to probably what's going to be the most interesting part of the show.
Oh, put some pressure on it. Why don't you?
Yeah.
We're going to talk to Scott a little bit about his basketball history and maybe some of the strength and conditioning.
Did you
that
play
he
with
did.
Michael Jordan, dude? Man.
You played pro basketball, but in
How
other
many
countries.
degrees does it take to connect you to Michael Jordan?
One.
Probably 2 steps. I probably played with somebody that played with him.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Vicariously, you played with Jordan.
Yeah, sure.
Basically.
Right.
Wizards Jordan or Bulls Jordan?
Was there a question?
I've had a long day, man. I've been up since 4.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think what he intended to ask you was what you did, what you can recall from your days of basketball, and what you did for training.
Training was depends on the level, of course. You know, high school basketball. In my day there was we didn't really do weight training. I was one of the only guys on my high school team that actually did weight training, and it was just because I was trying to get stronger because I was such a skinny.
Oh yeah, how big were you? I remember you telling me how big you were in high school. It's kind of amazing.
when I graduated high school, I was 6'8" and 180 pounds. So
Tall,
You need
good
to email a picture. We can post that.
Oh, God, yeah, it's gross. I mean, it looks anorexic. Bones showing through arms.
And you were trying to eat a lot during
I
this
was
time.
eating like 7,000 calories
What
a
was
day at
those
least.
great ass stories you said you felt bad for your parents when you go out to eat?
Oh yeah, I mean, now I look back like how much money I spend on food now, and then and I've come way down in my calorie intake and how much food I eat by comparison. I mean, really, when I was in college and eating 7, 8, 9,000 calories a day, parents would take me out to dinner and I'd order 2 full dinners, and so now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I felt so bad that they had to pay for that every time we went out to eat, and I've got 2 full on. Go to Sizzler and I got 2 steaks and 2 baked potatoes, 2 sides of vegetables. I probably got dessert.
Well, I wouldn't feel bad if you're eating a Sizzler.
Whatever.
I was just kidding.
Fucking anywhere, yes.
Yeah.
Your dad is-
Outback, wherever we went, I had to eat basically double. And then I was doing stuff like setting my alarm for midnight, getting up and making 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and eating them, going back to sleep.
That sounds awesome, by the way.
Dude, I've had peanut butter and jelly.
You
in
set an
forever.
alarm for a peanut butter sandwich?
2 peanut butter sandwiches.
Too, motherfucker.
Dude, I want one now.
I mean, because that was another time where I could stuff food in my. I mean, I was eating till I was full, like 5-6 times a day, stuff beyond
Yeah.
beyond comfort.
Just to get unskinny, not to get big.
No, that was to maintain my 180-pound.
God. That's incredible.
Were you?
just-
yeah, you were
and got-
already. You were close to where you are now, but
Yeah.
you were still growing.
About 2 inches. I grew 2 inches in college. About.
Jeez.
Bless your dad. Your dad probably never said a bad word like this. He's gonna support you. no
Oh, he
matter
did
what.
everything he could, but I mean, like and at the time, who knew what about diet? I was waking up in the morning. My breakfast was like I specifically remember this: waking up in the morning and eating an entire box of Eggo waffles.
Awesome.
5 packs of instant oatmeal mixed up.
Oh my God.
And then a protein shake that was huge, like filled up the blender, and then all the milk I could drink after that.
Holy shit. I thought me eating 2 corn dogs in high school for breakfast was bad.
Dude.
Well, that's
is
not
a-
actually bad.
It's not terrible.
If you're trying
but
to put
that's
on
a
weight.
lot. That's a lot of calories, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of carb. I guess you could sort of start digesting as you're eating that.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Those
there was-
Eggo waffles got to be 1,000 or 2,000
With
calories.
syrup?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
butter syrup the whole night. Yeah, it was just and go to town, and that was just breakfast, and then it was every meal was just eat to. I'd take 4 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch at school, and then come home and
You're making me really want a fucking peanut butter.
You were
and jelly
living the
sandwich right
life.
now.
No, it sounds
But here's
wonderful.
you make an interesting point because people think that losing weight is really hard. Like, oh, I can't have all these things. This is really tough to do. These are people who have no idea how hard it is to fucking try to gain good weight.
Yeah, it
This
was
is a curse, man.
It was not fun. I didn't enjoy it. It became work. Like I got sick of food. After college, I didn't enjoy eating because it was an
was work.
assignment. Like go home and eat a pound of pasta and as much meat and whatever else you can put on
CTP,
it.
let's do an experiment for a week. Every day, let's lay out times like 8, 10:30, 12,
Alarm clock
2
at
o'clock,
midnight.
5, 7, 10, and 2 o'clock in the morning. get up and eat until you can't eat anymore. Let's see how
That was 2 weeks ago.
Let's do an experiment of that. No, yeah, you didn't do it. People think people say I'm having trouble losing weight or I'm having trouble gaining weight. They think I'm doing all I can. That's fucking stupid bullshit. You're doing nothing close to what you can do. So let's do this experiment on you. Peanut butter
James.
peanut butter jelly sandwiches at 2 o'clock in the morning for you, buddy. 2 of them.
Don't do it, CTP.
Well, did you ever find anything that like worked where you're like, oh, this food really does help me gain weight?
Yeah, getting old. Turning 30 for me was the big switch when I started. I got up to, when I finished college, I was probably 215, so I'd actually, put on 25 pounds, but still way too skinny. And then I went overseas and I was playing. Actually, the first time I really gained some weight, I was playing in South America, and the team I was playing for had me set up in like 4 restaurants where I could just go in there and order whatever I wanted, sign my name on the check, and the team paid for it.
Oh, nice.
And then it was, you want to talk about easy jobs. We practiced twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it was like an hour and a half of shooting practice. And then we played a game on Saturday every week.
That's why they have to import Americans to play.
Well, it was it was a developing basketball country. It's not a
Right.
I was just that was my first gig.
When you say when you turned 30, did your activity level go down at around 30 also, or do you think it's just age was the main determinant?
No, I think age, like my metabolism just slowed down. I wasn't, I don't know. Some of it was activity level, but no, I was still playing professionally at the time, and but that was the first time that I went, I don't need to eat 7,000 calories a day to maintain my weight. If I do, one summer when I was about 30, I shot up to like 265 because all I was doing was eating and lifting. I wasn't doing any kind of metabolic conditioning.
You shared recently the adverse effects of that too, right?
Yeah, and so I gained a bunch of weight. That was over the summer, and then I went back to play, and that was my I was injured not injured, but I had back problems and tendonitis in my Achilles tendon, and was plagued by all these kind of injuries, and so that was just not a good weight for me. So the next year I was back down to 240, and that's pretty much my playing weight and what I'm at right now. So, but yeah, just that was eating a lot sucked, and when I was there in Bolivia, that wasn't too bad because it was pretty good food, and I got to go to a bunch of different restaurants and eat a bunch of stuff. And
sounds awesome.
So yeah, 2 practices a week, and for about an hour and a half,
leaf stew,
and then a game on Saturday, and that was my job, and I got paid pretty well, and lived right in the center of town, and had one of the first, I was there for 3 weeks, and I was lifting weights in this gym, and somebody asked me a question. I said, I don't speak very good Spanish. And this other guy came over and said, hey, you speak English? And I said, yeah. And he said, you're American? And I said, yeah. And he said, I'm the president of an English-speaking club. Would you come speak at my club? And just, you could talk about what it's like to be an American in Bolivia. And oh, yeah, sure, that sounds great. So I went and did this little talk, and there's 19 people, and immediately had 19 new best friends that wanted to show me around town and
that's cool.
Take me out, do all this stuff. So I just had a blast there, and had all this free time because I only got 3 days of work a week at this.
Wait, so there was a club dedicated to speaking English?
Yeah, they wanted to learn.
Well, every town's got that, man.
Go
to Korea or anywhere, they got that.
It's not their first language. They don't teach it. It's not. Some of the countries I played in, everybody speaks English. It's not their native language, but everybody speaks 3 or 4 languages. But Bolivia, nobody speaks English except for this.
That's pretty typical in South America, though. A lot of those countries, Argentina included.
Right.
You were telling me that. Yeah, don't go down there and expect to be able to communicate with these people unless you're speaking Spanish.
Yeah, I learned very quickly, especially food related, because if I was going to eat, I needed to know what I was going to order and be able to talk to somebody about it. So learned how to say chicken.
How long did it take you to feel comfortable in communication, and not just to order food, but just to be able to, live life in that country?
A month or 2, you get to a point where you can get by, and I never really, felt fully comfortable. It's still a kind of a, not a struggle, but still speaking, broken language and having to make yourself understood and do the best you can. But that was one of the things I really liked about playing overseas is that you go beyond being a tourist and going there for a week and seeing the tourist crap. You go there and immerse yourself in their culture for 6 months at a time and have to learn some of the language and find out what the locals do for entertainment and where they like to eat, and not just go to here's where all the tourists go to eat this famous restaurant or see this neat thing.
Always a bad idea.
If you're eating a part of an animal that you have never eaten before, then you're doing the right thing when you're in another country.
Sometimes.
Like cow's foot.
Right.
I've eaten dog in Hong Kong. That was not a cool idea. And raw whale meat in Norway was not delicious.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that didn't seem like a good idea.
That was more disgusting than the dog by a lot.
What was the main sensation you put in your mouth? Was it texture and
gag
flavor?
reflex was the main sensation.
Was it flavor and texture and everything?
Everything. It was like a piece of whale flavored bubble gum that did not want to digest or break down or. Yeah, it was not tasty. Even the Norwegians don't eat that stuff. They were almost tricking me into eating. Oh yeah, you got to try it. And then I put this thing in my mouth, and it's just the worst thing ever.
Oh man,
I had that sensation.
The Swedish guy on our team was wiping his tongue off with paper towels and stuff. It was really bad.
It reminds me when I had in Holland the pickled herring. People love this shit over there apparently.
Yeah.
But I'm sit around dinner table and go, yeah, I'll try it. So you basically pack on raw onions on the side of it. You stick it to the fish and you pick it up by the tail and you put it in your mouth. I just got a picture of me at this moment. I bite into it immediately. I go, terrible decision. Terrible decision. It was like biting into raw beyond fishy fish flavored Jello pudding. It was like, oh, okay. I think Americans always don't do good with those kind of textures, the gelatinous, squishy textures. And then it was like punch in your face raw fish flavor, and it was like, I don't know what to do now. If I spit this on a table, I'm an asshole. So I just choke it down and swallow. That's all for me. And that guy goes, "You gonna finish that?" I go, "Nope." And he picks up, it's like a fucking seal at SeaWorld, just crushed it. It was crazy, man, crazy.
What kind of strength and conditioning did you do in college? So in high school, you kind of lift the weights on your own. In college, what did you do? And then how did that change when you went to South America?
Well, in high school, the training, I actually worked with a personal trainer, but he was basically, it was like bodybuilder type crap. More or less standard bodybuilder, cable flies and craziness that was not appropriate for basketball, but it was something at least.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, got a little bit stronger and it helped. College, we actually had a strength and conditioning coach, but he was more football oriented. So we basically did the same program that the football team did. That was at NAU. I spent my freshman year at NAU.
That probably wasn't terrible for you.
It was all right.
Built to make big, powerful dudes.
But again, you saw my early squats. I mean, those were the same squats I was doing at that time. Ugly. So
it's the same thing football players are doing, though.
Yeah.
And those guys usually they're so focused on football's priorities that they put zero thought into what you need and what you should be doing.
And then I transferred to a junior college, and then I went to Fairfield University, and we had a fairly decent strength coach, but our actual basketball coach was a marathon runner. And talk about a horrible combination. This guy had us, like our pregame meal, he would only let us eat pasta with like marinara sauce, no meat in it, because he was a huge believer in carbo loading, and he actually said, "I don't want your body spending energy digesting meat during the game." So
why not put
you get to
marinara
that
sauce
point
and
in a sports career, you're a 20-year-old, you should probably know what your body needs, wants, can handle before a game. If you're not aware of that at that point, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, I've heard some basketball players eat like Skittles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not like that's
hot dogs.
My dad's roommate. My dad played college basketball too at University of Utah, and his roommate, his pregame, they would go have the pregame meal as a team, and then they would go back to the hotel, and this guy would open a 1-pound bag of M&Ms. He'd lay down on the bed. They'd put on whatever the movie of the day was on TV, and he'd dump half the bag on his chest, and with a liter of Coke, and he'd just start eating M&Ms, wash it down with Coke, and he'd finish a pound of M&Ms.
That sounds like a lot of M&Ms.
And a liter of Coke, and then go play this game.
Wow.
And so to each his own, and you should know what you can handle. I mean, obviously there's better things for you to eat, but pasta with red sauce is not the answer to me. And half the time, I would go to that pregame meal and eat that, and then go somewhere else and eat another sandwich or whatever I wanted. It was like sabotage his plan.
I used to eat peanut butter and jelly before.
Back to peanut. It always goes back to peanut butter and jelly.
Whatever competition, man. Yeah, I've been told about 5 years ago that was the deal.
And then
I prefer peanut butter banana, man. Yeah,
when I started playing pro ball, a lot of those places, some they don't have. It's a club team. The difference between a lot of the European basketball, South American basketball, and NBA. NBA is a professional team. It's a business completely. A lot of the European teams are club teams. It's like these guys, they just want to play basketball, so they get together and they it becomes a league that they play against these other club teams. And then to be more competitive, they bring in an American and pay them. But some of the the players on the team, the Norwegians or the Bolivians, they're not actually getting paid. They're just doing it because they want to play basketball.
This is what Tom does. My pseudo brother-in-law, Janie's sister's boyfriend.
Oh yeah,
he's about. I guess he's 6'10", 6'11".
Yeah, he's a tall dude.
Yeah, he plays for a club team in Amsterdam. Sort of semi-pro. I guess the next level up will be national. I think that's the exact arrangement. They sort of get together and play, and they're competitive, and then
it's pretty standard.
Yeah, you get some heat behind you.
That's why you're working 3 days a week.
Well, yeah, that was a specific, every other place that I played, that was just one country that was like that. Every other place we had practice, 5-6 days a week, and then multiple games a week or whatever, So that was just a special situation where there was. This was a club team, but I was the only American for a long time on our team, and it was one of the guys on the team was actually he was pretty loaded. He had a lumber business, and he just paid me out of his own pocket because he wanted to win.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that was kind of interesting. This guy would show up once a month and just hand me $4,000 or whatever my salary was at the time.
$4,000 in Bolivia. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. Oh, and on top of that, then he'd give me spending money. So, as a kid fresh out of college, that was pretty good for me.
Hell yeah.
And I basically came home with everything that he gave me I put it in a bank account. Didn't spend any of it because all my had me in a hotel, my food's paid for, spending money. And it's super cheap anyway, so it was a pretty good deal. But most of those teams, like I said, they're club teams, so they may not have a strength program because it's just these guys getting together to play, and then we pay a couple of Americans or whatever. But they don't have the facilities, so it's right. You do what you want on your own, but they don't have a program. Now the higher clubs do, the bigger clubs, and as I got into some better teams and better situations, we had conditioning programs. And then the last year I played in Norway, actually, I did our strength and conditioning program. And, we did some, randomization stuff. We did a lot of CrossFit type exercise stuff where you throw a bunch of stuff together and do all these, random movements and stuff. But it was very specific to basketball. Pick a medicine ball up off the court, touch it to the backboard 15 times, so it's a basketball movement. And then do some sprints up and down the court. But, nothing as focused as when I came here and started working with Doug and especially, like he really designed the program to, suit my requirements and what I wanted to do. And we, talked about different things I wanted to start playing tennis, and we, worked on lateral movements and stuff like that. So much more focused training than just, basketball was always very focused, but we knew what we needed to do, and you could pretty much come up with your own stuff, just shoulders and legs.
Nothing's better than a individualized program.
Yeah.
We thinking come back soon, Scott?
No, 40's a bit old to be trying to play ball.
You played basketball with a team last year, or was that 2 years ago?
No, I was last year.
Pause.
Far back are we?
Okay, we're fine. Keep rolling.
I played pickup ball. In a rec team last year, and it just, it was fun for a little bit, but it gets frustrating when you played at a fairly high level, and you come back and play at a rec league level, and there's guys that clearly can't guard you, and so the only option is to foul you, and then these rec league referees that think, oh well, you're 6'10" and 240 and you played pro ball, you should be able to take that foul, and I'm going, it's still a foul foul's a foul. A guy
Right.
rips my arm off while I'm going up for a shot. I should get to shoot some free throws. And it took all the fun out of it. You know, I was getting hammered every time I played, and referees aren't doing anything about it. So
I remember you coming to the gym and being upset about playing with amateurs.
Well, yeah, and then the team I'm playing with is a bunch of guys that their basketball experience was high school basketball, or they played in a church league or whatever, and they've never actually been really coached about team basketball, and so they have some abilities, but they don't know where they're supposed to be on the court, and they don't know how to play team defense, and so it just got frustrating, and
Yeah.
there's other things to do for exercise, obviously.
Obviously.
That's a tough position to be in, man. It's kind of like I haven't never felt that, but going back and trying to recreate the magic of competing and powerlifting or something, when I'm a little bit past that time in my life, trying to get to that moment again it's always a tough deal. Trying to revisit those times. It doesn't quite work out all the time.
Yeah. I remember I played softball once. I got roped into playing some softball, and I was like, oh, this will be just like when I played baseball. This would be great. And then I went to go play softball, and no one took it as seriously as I was taking it. I was like, all right, this isn't fun for me because everyone's not like uber competitive.
What?
What's so funny?
Being shocked by that comment. Very controversial.
Why were you expecting anyone to be serious about softball?
Well, I had just stopped playing baseball like the last season type of thing, and then someone was like, "Oh, you'd be really good on the team." I'm like, "Yeah, I'd like to, keep doing this thing."
It's a bunch of
And then
fat, out of shape.
I played
boys.
like 2 games and quit.
Right.
I was like, "This is terrible. Like these guys don't care. They're just trying to hit bombs the whole time. Like this isn't cool."
One of the things I when I was playing that I was actually really excited about was like I felt like my athleticism stepped back up. Like I felt better, more athletic, quicker, jumping higher than I had probably the last year I played actually professionally. And there was a 4 or 5 year gap in there where I was played some rec leagues when I first got back, but then I basically quit playing basketball for 2-3 years, and did all this CrossFit stuff, working with Doug. And then here I saw some actual, results that I could really, quantify because I know what I played like the last time I played, and I was still
It's crazy.
quicker than most guys my size, and I could jump pretty well for my height. But I was starting to notice that I'm not quite blown by that guy like I would have a year ago or 2 years
Right.
ago. And then to kind of feel that again and doing that against 20-year-olds as a 40-year-old basically, and dunking on people and having fun with it was kind of fun. So,
Yeah, that's cool, man.
yeah.
For those few games.
Imagine what your 20-year-old self, how awesome it would have been if you had been introduced to really good strength and conditioning.
Oh God, yeah. I watched my brother. I have a younger brother. It's a half brother who's 24 now, and he's 6'11". And just watching the difference in training that he got in high school, and they had speed development camps and stuff like that. And
Right.
he did all this stuff, and he's way more athletic than I ever was. I mean, he's 6'11", and he puts his elbow on the rim and runs like a deer, and it's impressive to watch. And I just didn't have those tools, and so that it was kind of interesting to see basically myself in essence,
Right.
the same prototype body, have a completely different experience because of the training and nutrition and the knowledge that they have now versus 16 years ago.
We have some kids in the gym now that are 15, between 15 and 18 years old, and a lot of times people who are in their 20s will walk over to them, and it's probably happens like once in a while, it's like you don't even know what you have, you don't know. We got this 15-year-old that he's like a 77 kilo lifter, and he's snatching body weight and clean and jerks, close to
He's strong.
about 90, 95 kilos. And, and
He's
he
a-
just
he's a-
started
he's a-
weightlifting
he's a-
like 6 months ago.
Yeah, he's an
And he's
impressive
like,
guy.
oh man, I suck. He's comparing himself to Zach Critch, who
Right.
is who was an Olympic hopeful. It's like, no, dude, just
Patience-
relax.
patience,
yeah.
grasshopper.
Yeah, patience for sure.
Yeah.
And then we got these. We've trained kids that went to play baseball or football or something out of high school, and they've gone on to college. And again, they always come back and they're like, they're much more appreciative after, when they're there, they don't really know what they have. And they go back, they go and train with an entire team. These kids whose parents buy them one-on-one training with Doug and me, and they're like, oh, this is cool. they go and they get thrown in with the team. They're like, oh, I want to go back to that one-on-one training.
Right.
Well, again, individualized training.
Yeah.
It's going to be superior. But not everyone wants to pay for it.
No.
And I don't want to do it for everybody either.
No.
It takes a special arrangement.
Yeah.
Patience on both sides.
Yep.
Yeah. For sure.
I highly recommend it though if you can work it out.
Yeah, if you can do it, I think it's good to do for at least a period of time. Like I think most people would really benefit from, like, if they're a CrossFitter or whatever, get some individualized training to, like, really drill out those things you might be deficient at, skills you may need to brush up on. Because if you're doing randomized training, which, I mean, even if me as a coach I'm trying to plan as well as I can for an entire team, it's almost random for the individual because they're not, they can't make every training session, or they, I'm trying to worry about the needs of most of the people I'm programming for. And, if you can't do muscle ups, I'm not programming to teach you muscle ups type of thing. So I think it's good to, even if you're doing CrossFit, to shore up, some short things, some things you might not be so good at, maybe for a year or something like that could be super beneficial.
Oh yeah, and I mean you look at the people that are competitive in the games. I can almost guarantee you that to a person, not one of them is strictly just doing CrossFit workouts for their training. They're doing very focused stuff to improve their weaknesses and improve their strengths. But I've said that CrossFit is amazing for people just getting started with fitness or that are trying to get back in shape, things like that. But when you get to the point where you're trying to be competitive with CrossFit no longer cuts it. I mean, you've got to train for CrossFit by doing other things.
Yeah.
It turns in any other sport.
Well, I mean, and that, differentiate between what the sport of CrossFit is and CrossFit.com.
Right.
CrossFit.com is like, it's going to be novel for anybody.
Yeah.
And after a while, you might want to move on, even if you're just doing it for fitness or if you're doing it, to be a competitive CrossFitter. Mm-hmm. There are still some guys that compete in the CrossFit Games that's what they do. They do CrossFit.com. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe because the volume's pretty low. You do one training session a day, and some days it's not a lot of volume at all.
Right. And
then you're expected to do super high volume when you get to the games.
Right.
So I don't know if we're going to see more of that this year, but it's definitely, the first, 3 years of the CrossFit Games, there's definitely a lot of .comers in there. And, last year there wasn't that many, and you're probably going to see even fewer. And there's also a lot of coaches popping up that are saying, hey, I'll program for you individually. I know of a few different coaches. You go to their websites, and under, what they offer, one of the things they offer is individualized training for games athletes.
Right. And more of the affiliates are doing it. I mean, like you do specific programming for your team, your competitors, and it's different from the day-to-day people,
but
right?
for the team,
yeah.
But it's for a whole group of people still.
Yeah, but it's a different program than your day-to-day CrossFitters.
Yeah. There's more skill work. There's more volume. I'm assuming that they're going to train for an hour and a half to 2 hours a day.
Right.
We're going to program like 2-a-days on the weekends, stuff like that. Stuff that I know that the average, Joe does not want.
Right.
There you go.
Which, so my point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
Sucker.
We were talking about individuals, though. Suckers. But I see what you're saying.
The same rules apply.
Same rules do sort of
Dear
apply.
kind CTP, the same rules apply.
Yeah, the individuals, I mean, again, very few people are going to show up to their affiliate and do the workout of the day and then be at the games in California.
Sure.
The same, you can't escape the same rules that apply to everybody, no matter who you are, in that you're going to do a wide myriad of things, and you're going to get pretty good at all those things. But to really push those things beyond just pretty good into very good, you have to spend time and really work on pushing that needle forward, really making a mark, and then move on to the next thing. And carefully arrange those things so you can sort of stack those sequences so the whole gets better. Because after a while, you just can't keep doing everything some of the time and get better progressively. I mean, you adapt to what you do, everything works, but not forever. And that's a little bit different for everybody, but the overall rule applies to everybody. You're going to have to fiddle and change and make certain things more intense.
Except for Rich.
Rich is a freak, but I'm pretty sure he has a specific approach to what he's doing. He's just not doing random shit every day.
Well, I think most people are spending a period of time focusing on different skills throughout the year.
It's just the way it has to be.
I mean, I can guarantee. Well, I can't guarantee you, but I'd be willing to bet that he probably lays off as much volume in Metcons, like the month after the games. I don't think he's doing 3 Metcons a day. 2 days after the games.
Not for long.
We'll have to get him back on the show and ask him.
I think he just likes it.
Yeah, he's sick. There's something wrong with him.
But it's kind of like the boxer who eventually does get knocked out. If you keep up the patterns for long enough, it will get to you. So if you want to maximize the time you're at the top, you have to get smart. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
3-day Metcons will not work forever.
More than likely not.
If anything, you'll just get fucking really tired of doing all that stuff and sacrificing everything else in your life for the sake of doing more pull-ups. I mean, at the very least, you realize I have other things I like to do. At the very least, that happens.
For sure.
For shizzle dizzle.
All right, let's wrap this show up. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple quick promotions that I probably should have done at the beginning of the show. So don't forget to go to fitter.tv, FITR.tv. Check out what we got going on there. There's all sorts of things you can click on and navigate. And
it's a new page now, right? You fancified it?
I did. Actually, I spent all last week trying to figure out how to make the website better. And then yesterday, I don't know when I found how I was going to do it, but I got it launched last night, and it was a pain in my ass. But it looks. Have you seen it yet? No. I launched it last night.
I don't pay attention.
It looks like 100 times better, wouldn't you say? Yeah. CTP's nodding yes. It looks way fresher. It looks clean.
Clean on the seam with the pocket full of green. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it definitely looks clean and it doesn't look like a cheap WordPress site. So
yeah,
check it out.
We got things moving. Fitter TV.
Yeah.
Hey, I worked on it. Go there.
FITR.tv.
Yep. We have Barbell Shrug there and Technique WOD. So we had Technique WOD, which was a separate thing.
And my blog's supposed to be there, and yet no one ever wants to put it there. Sons of bitches. Let me come on your show and plug your stuff. Don't plug my stuff, bro. I see how it is.
Who said we were going to put your blog on there?
We talked about this like 2 weeks ago. Maybe 3 weeks ago. Because all this stuff feeds each other. Whatever.
Put his blog on there, Mike. What's up?
See how it is, bro. See how it is.
Coming to fitter.tv soon.
We'll
Chris Moore blog.
We'll talk about it. I don't know.
By the way, if you search Chris Moore, blog, sometimes mine is the first one. I beat out the famous author Christopher Moore.
If we move you over, that might not happen anymore. We need to talk about that.
Oh, we found out the other day that if you just type in, Google makes suggestions as you start typing a word.
I saw that too.
If you type in the word barbell, the first suggestion Google gives you is shrugged.
That's dope.
That's
just think.
Thank you to all the fans Googling our names.
I was in Bledsoe's bedroom.
What? In December. I don't remember this. Was this on Saturday?
Your December. It was December in your bedroom / office, whatever the hell that place was.
That's an office.
We did the first couple podcasts with.
That's an
it's
office.
a bedroom, technically speaking.
But
if you sell that house on the market, it's a bedroom.
I see
bro.
what he's saying.
Oh
but I go, what about Barbell Shrugged? I had the idea, and look what it's become.
Brilliant.
X thousands.
And now it's suggested on Google.
X thousands of downloads, slowly taking over the world.
Yeah. Lots of downloads.
Anything you want to promote, Scott?
No. Fitter.tv.
Beans Hall.
Yeah.
MMA seminar or MMA training day. Doug's MMA seminar is now available on there.
No, we may do a Unfit site eventually.
I think you guys should do some Unfit T-shirts. And then you should write. You should get with Doug and write a program. Or maybe you can do it. Write like a program for people who are extremely tall. So they, hey, these are the problems that tall
put
people
the program
have.
on the back of the shirt.
These are common things that tall people have a problem with CrossFit movements. Let's scale them this way.
I think let's draw a cool logo and sell the shirts.
And just do an ebook called Scott Scaled.
The problem here is the same problem with why I can't find clothes at the big and tall stores. There's the market for that is infinitesimally small. I mean, there's
Yeah, but
maybe one other guy out there, or two other guys out there that are trying to CrossFit that are 6'10". So, and the chance that those two guys want to find my program and do something about it.
But maybe you have some smaller dudes who just want to rep.
Although I did see they had an interview with Michael Doliak at one of the regionals. The guy played in the NBA and he's 6'11", and his wife is in the regionals.
Oh, okay.
But he CrossFits. So that was kind of funny. I just actually saw that today.
We should pursue a page or some sort of resource.
Yeah, I think T-shirts for sure.
We are going to have barbell shrug T-shirts.
If you suck and are beat up at
Unfit.
various things, we can help you.
Unfit.
If you're fat, tall, or beat up, we can help you.
I think
We're
the
here to
T-shirt's good.
Yeah, unfit.
Yeah.
Accommodating extreme genetics.
Yeah. The shirt that you came up
And
with
fatness.
is brilliant. Yeah, I like it. What happened? All right, we're going to get out of here.
Your fatness can be greatness.
We had a great conversation. Enjoyed having you, Scott.
Thanks. It's fun being here.
And we'll have you on again when we talk about...
Think of it.
I don't know.
Wait for it.
T-shirts. I might not even be in the club anymore.
Argentinian basketball.
Oh yeah, we got yeah, sure. Let's talk games next year when I'm in the top 50% in the Open.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a goal.
That'll be... So your goal is to be top 50%. When that happens, we'll have a show with champagne.
Are you gonna kick
champagne for everybody?
If that happens, you gonna kick yourself out of the club?
No,
that shit is not unfit.
No, because I'll still be wearing. I will forever be wearing a double extra large shirt, Chris. I will never drop below that.
That's true.
I don't
That
care.
should be on the back of your shirt.
How
Forever
fit?
double XL.
I'm just gonna get really fit and like shredded 6-pack obliques and shit, and on his feet wearing a dress for sure.
Let's not make promises we can't keep, Chris.
Oh, jeez. All right, we're cutting out of here.
All right.
Good show.
Nah. Let's keep talking.
We could just be old now, okay? But like I watched SNL a few weeks ago, and this band, I think they're called One Direction. It's a reemergence of the boy band. Anybody seen these guys? What? This is new boy band. Boy bands are now a thing again. And these 5 guys get on the stage, SNL, and they've all got that fucking haircut, which it keeps getting more extreme, where it just swoops way lateral and way off to the side.
Justin Bieber times 5.
Way more extreme than Bieber. This goes out and straight out and hovers.
Well,
And then they all-
clearly an overproduced band. I mean, it was a
Yeah,
hair
yeah.
and makeup and
But,
costume.
but kids copy and they do that shit. I've seen plenty of kids with this fucking haircut.
Yeah, but none of
But
those were
they-
outfits that somebody would voluntarily go, I want to wear that right there.
But
right?
do you know how many kids nowadays wear these fucking skinny jeans? The skinny jeans are the thing. With men! With like men! They're fitting themselves into girl pants.
Well, this is what's
Men aren't supposed to be wearing tight ass pants.
I remember when I was like 15, 16 years old and I would see the guys that were like 30, I'd go, man, they're wearing like the styles from like 15 years ago. Man, when I'm 30, I'm gonna be wearing like what's in style at the time, like whatever. I'm gonna keep up. Like I'm just gonna keep up. I'm not gonna like. And then like I woke up one day and everyone's wearing skinny jeans, and I'm like, no way, I'm not putting those on.
It's the same thing, like, you listen to like some new music and you're like, this is absolute crap, but every 20-year-old is just blasting it.
I feel like I still like I still like music that's coming out now.
Well, I like some music that's coming out, but
I still listen to Lithium.
It's less and less, isn't it?
listen to 3 dubstep songs in a row and tell me that's good music.
Whoa.
Like, you keep fucking playing in your gym all the time. We're doing a little better this week, but there's like a month stretch in the gym where we're doing nothing but fucking dubstep.
It's not dubstep.
There was
That's
a lot
all
of
the
that.
time.
Is.
That's dubstep.
That's dubstep.
Oh, that is, but that's not what was playing.
There was a good bit.
No.
I think there was
some
think that Dead Mouse and
I hate that
Bass
shit.
Nectar is
I think that guy's an asshole.
is dubstep, and it's not.
It fucking. Oh, dude, it's not Dead Mouse 5, it's Dead Mouse. Get it? Because it fucking says Dead Mouse 5, bro. I don't find it particularly fucking clever.
Chris, proving the eyeball point right here.
Exactly.
What's so goddamn clever about that? Misspelling your name.
You're old.
Corn, baby.
Well, that's the thing. See, every 20-year-old's going, that's so clever. And you're like,
It's a 5.
you're old.
And the guy's wearing a gigantically oversized plastic mouse head.
Oh.
Like, goddamn, man, you rich for this?